My name is Ed Clendenin. We're at the Tulsa Air and Space Museum for the 2009 annual reunion of the 376 Bomb Group. And I'm here with,
Vic Cerelli.
and you were with the 376?
That's correct.
In what capacity
I
did
was
you
a
serve?
navigator.
Navigator? And, okay, kind of going back in time, did you enlist? Were you drafted?
No, I enlisted right after I finished high school,
Okay,
and it was in, I guess around October of 1941.
October 41?
Yeah.
So that was before Pearl Harbor?
Yes.
Okay,
After Pearl Harbor, we realized that we were going to be called up fairly soon.
okay.
Yeah.
So you enlisted in the, before the war,
Yeah.
and what were you doing at the time of Pearl Harbor? Were you in the Army? Were you going to fight in the Army?
I was at Newark College of Engineering,
Okay,
but then we got called up in the next several months.
okay,
Called up, and I went to, after it's the usual things that you wind up going to, and I wound up going to navigation school.
so you took the various tests and they said, oh,
Yeah.
you're qualified to be a
Both to be a
navigator?
navigator, yeah. Right.
Okay, so they sent you up to navigation
Right.
school?
And I
Okay,
graduated navigation in June of '44.
June of 44? Okay.
As a
First,
lieutenant.
first lieutenant?
No, just a regular.
Just a lieutenant?
Second lieutenant.
Second
Yeah.
lieutenant.
Made first lieutenant after about 6 or 8 months in this.
So, then they sent you somewhere, you formed up with the
Yeah,
crew?
we formed up, we were training in Boise, Idaho,
Mountain Home?
in
Well,
B-24s in Boise, Idaho, yeah,
Boise, Idaho.
1944.
And how long did you go through crew training?
I guess we didn't fly over, we took a boat. I think we arrived in, I guess around July of '44.
July of 44?
We didn't get to San Pancrazio real quickly.
Okay.
We stayed in Italy there for a while and then went across.
So you took a slow boat from what,
Took a
Hampton
slow-
Roads?
Took another slow train, yeah.
And then did you land in Africa first, or did you go
No.
to, just went straight
No,
to
we didn't have a
Naples?
boat. We went to Naples.
At the Naples?
Yeah, we
Okay,
didn't fly over.
right. And then it took you a while to get from Naples, then down to San Pan?
Right, yeah.
And which squadron were you in?
513.
513, okay.
We were lucky.
Lucky? How so?
Well, we had barracks.
Oh, you had
We
barracks?
didn't have the tents.
Oh, the other squadrons had tents, I see.
Yeah.
So that must have made you guys happy.
And we were right there where the trains were and the food was and everything, so it was just luck.
Oh,
Sure.
great. Okay. And when was your first mission then?
The first mission, I don't know. Let me see. I can tell you approximately because I knew I was just 20.
Okay.
That's October of, 6th of October. So it was a little after the 6th of October, or maybe during October.
October was your first mission?
First mission, it wasn't with my crew.
But it was not?
No, Moosierbaum. And it was just a navigator. We flew up and flew back. Nothing really happened. I don't even remember seeing any flag.
Wow. Now, and then, when was your last mission?
Last mission, don't remember. It was just before they stopped all their missions and we came back.
Okay. So you finished your mission, but the group was
We
still
didn't finish
flying?
the missions. I think I had 22 or 23 missions together, so that's not a finish.
Okay. Did they send you to another group?
No, because the whole group came home.
So you were with the when
Yeah.
they came home?
With the group that came home.
Then did you go to Nebraska?
No,
No?
I had too many missions.
Oh, you had too many missions, okay. So what did the Army do with you?
Well, I had my choices. I decided to go to pilot school.
Oh, okay. So did you become a pilot?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And what did you fly?
B-25s.
B-25?
When I finished them. The standard single engine biplane starts with that.
Right.
Then you go to the single engine, what's the name of it?
The AT-6?
I'm not thinking of it. Anyway, it's a real airplane.
Sure.
Trouble with this prop, you had landing gear on it. The whole works was on the plane, 600 horsepower engine. And after that went to B-25s.
So were they thinking they were gonna send you to the Pacific? Or was it?
No, it was over.
Or the whole war was over by
So,
then?
yeah, I didn't graduate B-25s until, I have written down here, was it 1946? what was it? I can't find it. I have to think, I wrote it down because I have to think about it. You brought me ahead of where I wanted to be.
Oh, okay, well, we
No,
can go
that's,
back up.
that's not a problem, no. 1945.
1945.
No, that wasn't it. 47.
Okay, so after you learned how to fly B-25, then, now, first of all, did you stay in the Air Force? Or
Yeah.
You stayed in the Air Force?
I stayed in the Air Force. After I got a commercial pilot's license. What happened was they stopped our training for a while. We were at Randolph Field. And about 4 of us said, well, why don't we get a license?
Okay,
So we did. They gave us the little steerman which we had flown in anyway. So we all got this private pilot's license. Now when we graduated here, with the B-25, we got multi-engine commercial licenses.
okay,
Because we already had the other one.
yeah,
So that was nice. Never did fly in commercial.
right,
But I did fly one of the DC-3s.
okay. So what did you do in the Air, then after, in the Air Force? What were you doing when you retired?
I retired. Well, I did a lot of things before I retired.
Okay,
I was still in the Air Force when I went back to school again because the government was paying for it at that
Yeah.
point. So I did get
the
my
GI Bill, I think.
Yeah, I did get my chemical engineering degree.
Okay,
And I had about 3 months to go when we were called up doing a Korean thing.
yes,
So I didn't have to Korean because I only having 3 months. Well, that's what we finish up. And then they called me in.
okay,
And we were going to get married at the end of June, we did the first of June, so we could make it.
I see.
And then,
So you were engaged at the time?
yeah, and so then we got married on the 1st of June, 2nd of June, actually. And then I went to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Okay, and that's where you met Norm Apple?
Well, I didn't really realize it until later.
Okay,
That he would, when I got the letter after I left there, I got the letter of commendation there, and he had signed it, and by then it was too late to try to get to him.
I see.
But,
But he was there as one of your instructors? Or your?
no, there was another guy in charge, because he was in charge of several different
I see.
areas. We just had a
Okay.
few assistants to that, he was in charge of a lot of that.
Okay,
And we did have, one time the B-47,
the B-40, yeah, long sleeve, the Boeing, yeah.
anyway, it was, they were losing tanks, the tanks were burst open.
Really?
So we got a plane, the co-pilot was another guy with us, and we had an engineer, enlisted man to stay with us. And we flew out to California first, and from there, every place that had a plane, we landed, until we got to Texas, not Texas. I'll get it out there. Where I live now.
Where you live, Florida?
Florida.
Okay,
Anyway, until we got there, we had to go in every plane, inside the tanks, they opened up, they had dried them out, they had some tanks. One time we found a ladder in the tank, sometimes we see that they were starting to break open, we'd have to cut that out, which meant we had to replace the tank. Sometimes we could just put a patch on it, we'd pull and put a patch in it, okay? They loved this when we cut it out, because they had to replace the whole tank.
oh, yeah.
So anyway, we got to Florida, and then flew back, and same with it.
Well, going back to your time with the 376.
Yes.
You said you arrived in roughly June, I think, of 44,
Yeah.
that time frame.
Yeah,
And you said earlier that you never flew with your pilot.
No, because he had polio, so we had 3 different pilots. And one of the guys, he went on everything he could. We had a night mission.
Uh-huh,
I think it was in Yugoslavia, and they had this, something that we would be able to pinpoint, they weren't going to drop the bombs. Well,
Right.
everything cracked out.
Yeah.
So we couldn't just drop the bombs.
yes,
So we turned around to come back.
yes,
And meantime, I'm shooting at 6, and I worked with my co-pilot,
mhm,
because there was a 2-minute timer on it.
mhm,
So I would hold the star, and he would tell me, I would tell him when I was stopping, he would tell me when to stop,
mhm.
and get the fixed on one star to get what start again for the next star. We'd shoot 2 stars with Polaris, and then you get it fixed. Well, anyway, we did that, we back, and I said, okay, we're now over the Adriatic. I said, we can't, we just let the lights down here. I said, yeah, I'll take another shot. I said, no, over the Adriatic, there's still a lot of lights. I said, well, okay, if you want to make sure you miss Italy, stay to the right, which we did.
Yeah.
So we went out of Paris,
Yeah.
which had just been bombed a couple of weeks ago from the Germans.
Yes,
So the floodlights came on, and he did a big left turn, and we went right down the coast again. We didn't dare fly over Barrett because they would have shot us
Never
down.
shut us down. So, so you were on these night missions. Now,
That one night mission was all.
Just the one night
That's the only
mission.
time we did that, yeah. The other one time one time we got hit.
On this night mission?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
We were over, Germany. No, not Germany.
Austria?
Austria. And we had dropped the bomb, we started with the back, and we got hit. It's flak, and it shook the plane up a little bit and knocked out one engine. So on the way back, the pilot decides, well, I think we're going to land at Foggia, because they got more facilities to fix it up. And that other place at Sampan. So we landed there, and I crawled out from underneath, the navigators up in front.
Right.
So was the bombardier, and this little passageway. And as I'm coming through, there's a piece of flak about this big sitting on it. So I picked it up, stuck it in my pocket. We landed, shut off the engines, parked. Then when they get through everybody landing, then they begin moving the planes around where they should go.
Yeah.
So we couldn't start our engines. Because the flak went up. My pilot pulled out a couple of the wires. Couldn't start the number 3 engine. So you can't go. So we had to get towed away. And we had to call up to get somebody to come and pick us up.
So this piece of flak had cut the wires, but the planes could still,
Oh, well,
engines
while
could
we're
still.
running, you're running on mags.
Thanks. So
But you could not start
But
it.
you couldn't start it.
Right.
I see.
Yeah, other than that, there was no problem.
So you still have this piece of flak?
My grandson has it.
Your grandson has, okay.
The other thing, this is a commentary on other people. But when we saw the red tails,
Yes.
you see the red tails, you don't have to worry about the fighters,
Really?
right?
So you had a lot
They
of.
worry about flak, but these guys are gonna shoot everyone else down that comes near you. And they did it.
So you remember the red tails flying?
Tuskegee Airmen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you know at the time, I've heard back stories.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Did
yes.
you know that they were black? I mean,
Oh, yes.
African American?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, by all means.
Okay. And they were very good at what they did.
They didn't hear my radio. I'm going after these guys, can you cover my tails?
Okay.
Switch yourself, man, but fight out yourself. We can't jump in right now, we're busy.
Okay.
And they did.
So they made the sky safe for you from fighters?
Oh, yeah. I don't think they ever lost a plane, from what I know.
I've heard that.
Right? Yeah.
And you never.
They were just incredible. Yep.
You never lost a bomber. Now, how did your pilot, you said he had polio, is that right? The
Yeah.
first pilot you went,
Yeah, he never flew us.
well, how did he go through the whole pilot training?
I have no idea.
And then at Grant, he gets a sampan and somebody says you've got polio?
Yeah. Or it came on something. I have no idea what happened, or how it happened, or why it happened.
Did they just ship him back home after
Yeah.
that? Okay, and then you had what?
We had about 3 different pilots then.
Okay.
Our first mission was not even with my crew.
Did the other 9 crew members stay together as a
Yeah.
group?
Oh, yeah, they stayed together.
Okay. Did you make contact with them after the war?
Yeah. After a while, we did, and then it sort of faded away.
Okay.
Maybe my fault. But anyway, it just faded away.
Okay. And when did you become active in the association, the 376?
I can't remember the date.
Okay.
But it was when you went to, well, it had to be about 8 years ago.
Okay. Going back to that one lone wolf mission, you were saying you were taking sighting. Is that where you stood up in a little clear dome in front of the
Yeah, you
pilot?
go to the dome, the sextant had ran for 2 minutes,
Okay,
and you kept it on and then you got an average reading.
okay,
And so and I couldn't be reading my watch as a co-pilot. I would tell him, I'm gonna stop now, and he would look at his watch.
okay.
And he called me up, 2 minutes are up. And then I changed to the next site. I tell him I'm ready for the next one. He gave me the reading, go ahead, and told him when the minutes are up.
Mhm.
He worked with me.
Okay,
And in about 10 minutes, I had a fix.
okay,
And I shoot Polaris, once the Polaris again, average the whole reading, get a fix.
and you're going to do that on the night missions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Day missions, it was just look out and saw the ground.
So when you were navigating during the day, did you like identify towns or
Yeah.
landmarks or something?
Yeah, yeah, because you had the map, you knew about what to look for.
Uh-huh,
And most of the time, we were just following. Later on, we were leading group.
uh-huh.
And then we didn't have the turret.
The front turret?
Yeah, that was to clear, well, the leading group, to be a navigator, the leading group was great, because the guy in front was doing navigation reading,
Yeah,
The other guy had the other radar that was around, and all we did was keeping track of everything, we weren't really doing anything.
So they'd removed the front turret, the front gun
Yeah,
turret?
yeah.
Really? I did not know that. These were the Pathfinder airplanes?
Yeah, the lead ship.
Lead ship?
They didn't need it. Well, of course, at that time, Germany was almost kaput too.
Okay.
So we just had, he was doing it, and all I was doing was keeping track of where we were.
I remember looking at some of the sortie reports on the lead plane, they'd have 6 officers on the airplane. I mean, they had the pilot, the co-pilot, the bombardier, and like 3 navigators. An RCM navigator. And,
We only had one.
but I mean, but
When we went, at that time, no. it was
but
just
there were
me.
some planes had a lot of
Yeah.
navigators on
Oh, I
the
see,
plane.
yeah.
Now, I don't know if some
I
of
don't
them
recall that, no.
I don't know if some of them were for training or what.
That could be too, yeah.
But, because there were certain airplanes that were designated for that mission, and they were always on the front of the group.
Yeah.
And so I assume you flew those lead
Yeah.
planes once in a while?
Yeah, did it a few times.
They were specially equipped, like you were saying. Okay. Are there any other missions that stand out that you remember?
Not really, you know, I really don't remember a lot of the missions. They all blurred together after a while.
I see.
And those few that I mentioned to you, yeah, those sort of stand out.
Was that the only mission in which you got, the plane was seriously damaged?
Yeah,
Okay.
I told you about the one with the plane blew up in front of us.
Right, but that was another plane.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you tell me about for the video record, tell me about you were coming in on final approach and what happened, the plane that blew up in front of you?
Yeah, we were, you know, we weren't near the runway yet, but we were the next one to land.
Yes.
And we could see him nose over, and stuff went further down, and nose over a second time, and the bomb blew. Because all the pilot did was throw the engines forward, and so they dropped the bombs. And everyone else did the same thing, they all dropped the bombs in the Adriatic, and then before they landed. They had to clean up the plane, the field before we could land anyway, because of this plane.
So the plane that blew up was more or less over the runway?
Yeah.
Okay.
And over into the tents and everything else was covered. They had a big cleanup job.
Oh my God.
Channel.
What was life like around San Pan or at the base? Do you associate with the Italians very much? Or
Not really.
did you go to town a lot? Or?
Some of the people that worked there didn't fly, could speak pretty good Italian. I can get by a little bit on it, not that much.
Okay.
And there was no problems with them.
Okay.
They were happy to have us, frankly.
Okay.
When we went back in 1991, so a whole bunch of us, small bus like this one there. And one of the guys met his daughter. They both
okay.
recognized one another right away.
Yes. I think Charlie Yates, I think, was.
Yates was with us.
Yeah.
He was with us.
So you were on that group that went back to San
Yeah.
Pan?
And that poor mayor of the town, I think he spent his year's budget on us. It was incredible what he did.
And he said they took you out to the.
The thing about the
base?
field, you gotta see it, beautiful. Macadam runway on it,
Yeah.
not like what we had. The stone was still there though, 1943 or something like that.
The stone for what? For that airplane that blew up?
No, for when they came on the base.
Oh. Yeah, they got there in October of '43.
Yeah, so the stone was still there.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't take that up.
Didn't take it
The
down.
runway was beautiful. Not like what we had.
So could you find out, could you go to someplace and say, oh, I remember our barracks was here, or the mess tent was here, or the.
That was all changed.
It was all, oh.
With the theater that we had there was full of straw.
Okay.
So they were pretty much changed over.
Okay. But you got along well with the Italians while you were there?
Yeah.
Where'd you go in R&R? Or did you go in
Oh,
R&R?
we went to Allen Capri.
Allen Capri?
That was one of the times I flew the B-24.
You flew the plane?
Yeah.
Ah.
No, I was just the co-pilot. But I guess their idea was they wanted to have somebody else that could fly the plane in addition
Right.
to whoever could. So I got to fly the plane there several times.
Okay. What was that like?
Well,
You-
that's why I became a
That's why you
pilot.
became a pilot. Oh, I see. You ever fly another B-24 after that?
No.
No.
One more thing.
Okay.
Small. On the way, we stopped at a little place to eat. And we decided to have spaghetti.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I had spaghetti. I told the waiter, I said, how much you afford? hot pepper. Sort of picture, a little bit hot, not this big. Pop it on there. I have to get to start eating. I said, they're peeking out of the seams I'm eating this thing, what I'm gonna do after I eat it. Well, I'm used to it anyway, so it didn't matter to me.
Yeah,
But I guess they were a little surprised and they just walked away. Nothing happened. It's just,
but some America to eat this hot pepper.
it's a hot pepper, yeah.
Okay.
What else can I tell you? Not too much, really.
I mean, it's your floor,
Yeah.
anything you like? What about anything you remember from your training? Or,
The training. Oh, yeah, one thing I do remember. We were supposed to, one of the things you do with navigation is you fly down a plumb line. We were going over San Francisco. And the pilot, the co-pilot, and the navigator was watching me.
Right.
But he's up with the pilot. And I knew my line was over here, coming from San Francisco. And you could see San Francisco. So the pilot's wondering, why am I going straight? But I turned like this. And so he asked, what the hell is he doing? He's turning the wrong way. I said, leave him alone, he knows what he's doing. I'm shooting sunlight until I get to here. And so, okay, now we turn down. Right down, that's all I have. And went right over the bridge, over San Francisco. And he still couldn't understand why I didn't fly straight in.
yeah,
But anyway, the navigator, the instructor navigator knew what I was doing, so. He said, no, it was all right, he did what he's supposed to do.
so this was,
Oh, another time we came in, and we had lost an engine. So we're flying back, and we got this gal on her, she says, land on runway something left. Another one was coming in, land on a different runway, right. So no, ahead, he's both down the same runway. So the pilot sees this other plane coming in, and he kicked, it didn't matter, he kicked it and ran over like that. Then we got, there's a little trouble because we didn't land on the runway he told us to. So we went through the whole thing, he said, oh yeah, they landed us both on the same runway, going this way. He pulled over and landed. So he didn't have anything against him. Because he didn't wash up the plane.
you're lucky the pilot saw the other plane
Oh,
coming
yeah,
in.
it was coming right at us.
Hmm.
She just, one middle, the other one on left, the other one on right. Separate, right? Except they come in. Okay, strange things happen.
Oh, I would imagine. At the banquet last night, the guest speaker was talking about the women ferrying planes. Did you
No.
see any women
No,
ferrying planes?
I'm sure they did, but we didn't see it. I never saw it.
Now, I can't remember, did you fly a plane over it or did you
No, we took both.
took a boat? I was gonna say, I was wondering if you saw a crew, with crewed over the plane, but you said you
No,
took a
we
boat.
took the boat over. We landed Fauci.
Okay. And did you take a boat back?
No, we took a train over. Oh, yeah, back we took a boat.
You took a boat back also?
That's to the United States.
So you were with the rest of the 376 when they went?
Yeah,
back?
the whole, everybody that went back, that was going back was on the boat.
Did you watch the barge sink into Naples Harbor with all the records?
No.
Oh, there was supposedly all the records were being ferried out to the boat.
First time I heard about it just now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Whatever it was, barge sank.
And everything was gone.
And then many of the records were sitting at the bottom of Naples Harbor.
I didn't know about that.
Oh, okay. Was there anything else you
Not that I can think of.
would like to share?
No, not I can think of else. I told you I flew DC-3s for a while.
Right,
I stayed in the service until 74.
74?
I retired as a colonel. And that's the end of it.
Got anything exciting in your post-war aviation? I mean, what program did you work on in the Air Force?
The only thing I did was in the fuel systems lab.
Fuel system, okay.
Did some stuff there, but there's no sense of talking about that,
Oh, wow, I mean, I don't know,
unless you're an engineer.
well, I am an engineer, but 74 I worked on the F4, so that was the first plane I ever worked on.
Well, we had this, no,
Okay,
I would have to sit here and think about it a while.
okay. Well, thank you for your time and your effort and your service. And
What I could give you anyway.
no, it was very, very interesting, very informative. So, thank you
I
very much.
quit now.
You can quit. Yes, you may.
That's the